What if the elevator you stepped into never led you to your destination? What if instead of taking you up or down, it took you nowhere? What if that single step inside sealed your fate? And what if no one ever came to get you? Imagine stepping into an elevator you've used 1,000 times before, a normal part of daily life. You press a button without thinking, but today something is different. The doors close, the elevator moves, and suddenly it doesn't stop. You press another button, but the elevator doesn't respond. And then the elevator starts moving faster. Where is it taking you? You shouldn't have stepped inside. We take elevators for granted. They are simply machines, boxes of steel, pulleys and cables designed to take us from one floor to another. We step inside without hesitation, press a button and expect to arrive at our destination. But what if an elevator didn't follow the rules? What if one day the elevator you stepped into didn't take you where you expected? There's something strange about elevators, isn't there? They're small, they're enclosed, and for a brief moment, when those doors close, you're completely trapped. Maybe that's why horror movies love them. Maybe that's why they appear in our nightmares. A machine that isolates you, even in a building full of people, a place where you are utterly vulnerable. But here's the part that's truly disturbing. When trapped inside an elevator, time distorts. The minutes stretch longer, the brain starts playing tricks on you. Studies show that isolation in small, confined spaces can induce hallucinations after prolonged exposure. Some survivors of elevator entrapment describe hearing voices, seeing shadows where there were none, and feeling an unseen presence in the tiny, cramped space with them. These aren't just stories. There are real-life cases of people stepping into elevators and encountering something they cannot explain. In 2013, college student Elisa Lam was found dead inside a water tank on top of the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles. The last known footage of her? This bizarre surveillance video from an elevator in the hotel. She steps in, but something is off. Some say it was a mental breakdown. Others believe she was interacting with something unseen. What happened in that elevator? Why does the footage cut moments before she vanishes? No one knows. For years, people have reported strange occurrences, stepping into an elevator, pressing the wrong button and ending up somewhere completely unfamiliar. Some floors feel off. The lighting is strange, the hallways don't look right, and worst of all, the elevator doesn't open again when you try to leave. I never believed these stories, not until it happened to me. At first it was just a normal ride, but then I realized something was wrong. It was just another night, another elevator, another ride that should have lasted less than a minute. I don't know why, but something felt off. Maybe it was the silence. Maybe it was the way the hallway behind me felt colder the moment I pressed that button, but I ignored it. I stepped inside. At first nothing happened, just silence, no movement, no sound except for my own breathing. I pressed the button for my floor again and again. And then it moved, but not normally, not smoothly. It felt wrong, like something was pulling it downward instead of the usual gentle descent. It wasn't stopping, not at my floor, not at any floor. Okay, stay calm. It's just a glitch, just a simple power issue. The silence is deafening. The air inside the elevator feels thicker, heavier, like being submerged underwater. The emergency button is pressed. Nothing. The doors don't budge. No response. Not even the usual ding. The elevator walls don't look the same. The once dull metal panels seem darker, almost stained. Shapes begin to appear, subtle at first, handprints, smudges, like someone had been pressing against them. Many someones. I waited, for the doors to open, for a sound, for something, but nothing happened. And then I noticed something. Okay, maybe it's just my mind playing tricks. I need to focus, Hello, is someone out there? The overhead light flickers again. The shadows inside seem to move unnaturally, stretching against the walls. A faint breath right behind my ear. A sensation of cold air, as if something was too close. I spin around, but no one is there. Then the elevator moves again, but this time it's not descending, it's going somewhere else. The floor indicator panel glitches again. The numbers are scrambled, showing non-existent floors: 66, 77, 88, 99, then a final stop at 000. The elevator slows to a stop. A ding. The doors begin to slide open, revealing blackness, a void, no hallway, no walls, just darkness stretching endlessly beyond the elevator. I wasn't alone anymore. I could feel it. That's not a real floor. A whispering voice slithers through the darkness. Indistinct, yet familiar. Calling. The doors begin to close, but just before they shut completely, a hand reaches inside. A pale, unfamiliar hand. Fingers too long, too thin. It presses against the metal doors. I hit the emergency button frantically, pounding on the walls, screaming. The elevator jerks violently, throwing me to the floor. The lights blink out completely. For a moment, total darkness, and finally, one last ding. The doors open. The elevator is back in the original building, as if nothing ever happened. I don't know what was out there. I don't want to know, but I know something changed. Days later, I looked at the elevator's security footage, expecting to see myself inside the elevator alone. But as the footage played, a second figure appeared behind me, unmoving, watching. As I turned off the video, a faint tap came from my closet door, the same knock I heard inside the elevator. At first it was fear. Pure instinctual fear, the kind that makes your hands shake and your pulse race. But then, something worse happened. I started doubting myself. Was I really trapped? Or was something making me think I was? That's when I realized the mind is just another thing that can be played with. And that's the worst part. My story isn't the only one. There are others, so many others. Some say she was playing the elevator game, a supernatural ritual said to take you to another world. Others believe she was trapped in a reality-bending nightmare, just like I was. Gone, no trace. The apartment building was searched top to bottom. The elevator shaft inspected. Nothing. As if the elevator had taken him somewhere else, somewhere he was never supposed to go. The rules are simple. Enter an elevator alone. Visit a specific sequence of floors. If done correctly, the elevator will transport you to a different reality, a world that looks like our own but feels empty, off, wrong. Under no circumstances should you speak to her. If you do, she may not let you come back. The official cause? Heart failure. But the last thing he was heard saying was, "Please don't take me." Being trapped isn't just about the fear of dying. It's about losing time, losing yourself, the feeling that maybe you were never meant to leave. There comes a point where your mind starts whispering things to you. No one is coming. You are alone. This is your new reality. The thing is, it didn't stop when I got out. That night I had dreams of elevators going nowhere, ones where the doors opened to places that didn't exist. And then I started noticing things. What if, once an elevator takes you somewhere you were never meant to go, it never really lets you go? Have you ever been in an elevator and felt like something was wrong? Maybe the doors took a little too long to open. Maybe it stopped at a floor you didn't press. Or maybe, just maybe, you weren't as alone as you thought. If that ever happens, whatever you do, don't turn around. I was just standing there, waiting. The buttons weren't responding. The emergency call, nothing. And then the worst thing happened. I don't know how to explain it. The walls weren't the same. The metal looked older, rusted, almost bleeding. No. That wasn't me. For a moment I thought it was over, that I was stuck. But then I heard it. BASEMENT. Arriving at your final stop. No, this isn't real. This isn't real. Where am I? This isn't a basement. I should have been out by now. I should have reached the floor, but I wasn't going back, was I? Home? Is it really over? I don't know what happened that night. I don't know where the elevator really took me. But I do know one thing. It never really let me go. I wish I could say that was the end of it. That I stepped out of the elevator, took a deep breath and went on with my life like nothing had happened. But I can't. Because even now, even as I sit here, telling you this, I can still feel it. That feeling of being watched, of something just behind me, just out of sight. I've tried to convince myself that it was just a malfunction, that maybe I imagined things in the darkness, that the whispers, the shifting walls, the thing in the reflection, it was just my mind playing tricks on me. But how do you explain something that wasn't there following you home? I started hearing things. At first, it was little noises, a faint beeping like an elevator button being pressed in the distance, the whoosh of doors opening even though I was alone. Then the nightmares started. Every night I find myself back there, back in that goddamn elevator. And no matter how hard I try, I can't get out. I started keeping track of what I could remember. The floor numbers that flashed by, the symbols that weren't supposed to be there, the message on the panel when I was about to hit the bottom. I looked it up. And that basement floor? It doesn't exist. Not on any blueprint, not in any record. I even went back to the building during the day just to check. But the panel? There is no basement in that building. So what does that mean? Where did I go? And more importantly, did something follow me back? Because ever since that night, I've been seeing things. Maybe I'm just paranoid. Maybe it was all a dream. If you ever find yourself in an elevator that moves when it shouldn't, if the buttons don't respond, if the floor display stops showing numbers and starts showing words instead, get out. Maybe I'm just imagining things. Maybe this was all just a bad dream. But if that's true, why do I still hear the elevator chime at night? Have you ever experienced something like this? An elevator that moved on its own, a strange reflection, a place that shouldn't exist, but somehow does? If you have, I need to know.